And we are not taking hands right now in Clubhouse. We will open it up, but not at this very second. But I
Yeah,
appreciate
we're going to be officially starting
yours.
at the bottom of the hour here.
Yes.
So please stand by. Right now, if anyone's wondering what's going on, I'm setting up the live stream. Which I think is being streamed. So,
I got the notification saying it was.
well, good then. How's my hair?
I am. And I'm got my earbuds, so you will not hear yourselves back.
Your audio is a little bit better as well. With said earbuds in. So that's
Oh,
good.
it shouldn't have changed. So that's funny. Maybe just how I'm sitting.
Yeah, I think you were just a little closer to the mic.
Maybe.
That's because I was trying to kind
if
of
they're just
see where I
anyway,
was on the
I didn't know if they were earbuds that had a mic or ear.
No.
Earbuds? Wow. Okay.
They do have a microphone, but it's not very good.
Fair. Okay.
Please stand by, everybody. We will be starting in just a few minutes. It's 26 after, and we'll be starting at
Half past.
at half past, so 4 minutes. And I see people starting to trickle in on Zoom, and I know that people have already raised hands in Clubhouse, so people must be excited about this topic there. Who do we have over in Clubhouse, Liz?
In terms of the raised hands or just in terms
Just
of audience?
The audience.
Jenna, Kim, Chip, and Abraham at the moment. So welcome to all of you in Clubhouse and on Zoom.
Welcome to all of you. Welcome to the phone number ending in 712 that just joined us in Zoom. Again, we'll be starting now in about 3 minutes. And
if you want to unmute and give us a name, I can rename you. Maybe. Chris, did you co-host me?
I did now.
All right. Well, now I can rename people.
Hi, this is Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Welcome.
Thank you.
We'll get
Good to
you
be here.
renamed.
Thank you.
Thank you. So for those of you who joined last month, we tried bridging Clubhouse and Zoom and didn't have entirely good success because I, without realizing it, was using the wrong dongle for my phone. And so the connection, while we could hear Clubhouse in Zoom, Clubhouse couldn't hear Zoom over there. So it was not necessarily the nicest experience. So I'm glad that we have that taken care of and figured out, because I'm excited to be able to offer this on Clubhouse and Zoom, and also on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. That is pretty cool, in my opinion. Also, I'll mention this again when we start the official show, but I'm excited enough about it to tell you that I am wearing my brand new Penny Forward polo shirt. It is a gray shirt. It has a Penny Forward logo embroidered on the chest. I'm trying to arrange my headphone cord so that it doesn't obscure the logo, so that people can see it nicely. It's a very nice shirt. It's very, very nice material. And the embroidery was done by my boss, who is in the process of starting up an embroidery business. She just got a commercial 10 needle embroidery machine, and this turned out really nice. So So I'm really proud of having a Penny Forward shirt.
And we did have an iPhone join in Zoom if you'd like to unmute and tell us who you are. I can rename you and do it quick before we start. Otherwise, we can wait.
Hello, it's Ty, and I already changed my name.
Oh, thank you, Ty.
You're
Welcome, Ty.
Hello.
Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
All right. Well, let's get started. It is 30 minutes after, and this is Financial Sense, a public service of Penny Forward. Penny Forward is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to help blind people navigate the complicated landscape of personal finance through education, mentoring, and mutual support. We offer self-paced online courses, weekly members-only group chats, weekly newsletter, a podcast, which is free to everybody, but if you would like to join us, you can get access to every episode 1 week early, and other stuff, including access to one-on-one coaching. And we'll be talking about that during today's call a little bit. I'm Chris Peterson. I am the founder, president, and CEO of Penny Forward. I started Penny Forward because as I started to talk to my friends, especially my friends who were blind, they had a lot of questions regarding money management. And I found that I was sometimes able to answer them. And when I wasn't, I found that I enjoyed the process of researching and being able to come up with answers for them. And so we turned that into a nonprofit organization a couple of years ago. And here we are now. If you'd like to join us, it just costs $9 a month or $99 a year. And you can do that by going to pennyforward.com and clicking on the Join Penny Forward link. It's right at the top of the page. It's very easy to find. You'll get access to everything I listed below. And I will give that address and our phone number and other information throughout the call today, so that if you want to get in touch with us, we would love to talk with you. First, I want to just cover some Penny Forward news since we last broadcast. Penny Forward's webpage has undergone a bit of a redesign. It has a slightly more streamlined visual look to it. From a screen reader perspective, there isn't really a lot of change, although you may notice that the order of some of the links may have changed somewhat. But we also rolled out, or are in the process of rolling out, a newly redesigned logo. And the logo is a green arrow that is slightly curved upwards towards the point of the arrow. And right above it, on the very left-hand side, is a green guide dog cartoon, and the words Penny in black, and below that Forward in green. So it's a really nice looking logo, and we're excited to be able to launch that kind of facelift. We also, on Giving Tuesday of 2022, launched a fundraiser to purchase a Braille embosser so that we could produce Braille handouts for in-person events. Now that we're getting back to more in-person events, we're planning on being present at state conventions, national conventions, as long as we can afford it. And when we're there, we would like to be able to hand out Braille wherever possible for people who read Braille. So that fundraiser raised nearly $1,000, actually a little over $1,000, about $1,100. And then a generous but anonymous donor reached out to us and said, I'd like to donate a gently used Braille embosser for your organization. So we have that in hand now, and we have brailled our first batch of handouts which we are excited to be able to use at the 2023 American Council of the Blind of Minnesota State Convention that's happening this weekend here where I live in Minneapolis. And we hope to appear at many more places as well. So if you are involved with a state or national convention, either ACB or NFB, and you would like us to appear there, either as an exhibitor or as a speaker, please get in touch with us. You can either call our phone number or send us an email. Our phone number is 888-332-5558. And our email address is pennyforward@pennyforward.com. And we'll do our best to help you out no matter whatever it is. So we look forward to hearing from you for that. Finally, we're in the very early stages of thinking about rolling out a Penny Forward mobile app. And we're interested to hear from you what you think would be interesting features in a Penny Forward mobile app. We're not going to discuss that here on the call today. However, I invite you to send an email to pennyforward@pennyforward.com and just let us know, if we had such a thing, what you would like to see us do with it, what kinds of features you would like to see there, and also features that you would like to see added to the website, because it's almost certainly anything we would put in a mobile app, we would also want to make sure is exposed on the website so that people using technology that can't make use of a mobile app would still have access to it. So again, our email address is pennyforward@pennyforward.com. Send us our ideas. We would love to hear from you while we're planning to roll this out. It could be a while yet, because a mobile app, as you might imagine, is a time-consuming and somewhat expensive project, but it's something that I think would be really helpful to our members and supporters. So again, pennyforward@pennyforward.com. And finally, last year, we applied for and were given some money from the Association for Financial Counseling and Planning Education to train 3 accredited financial counselors. All 3 of us are on the call this evening, and we have just begun the study process. And one of the things that we're obligated to do, and even if we weren't, I would be excited to share this with you because it's a big deal, is to let people know through social media, through blog posts, through live streams, podcast announcements, press releases, whatever, that we're working with the AFCPE on this. The Accredited Financial Counselor certification is the gold standard for financial counseling certifications. It is maintained by the Association for Financial Counseling and Planning Education, an organization that's been around for over 40 years, working on refining this standard and making the financial counseling profession something that everybody can be proud of and can trust. So we're excited to begin studying for our certifications, not only so that we can add credibility to Penny Forward as an organization, but also so that we can help the AFCPE to identify and resolve accessibility issues in the certification program so that we can bring more blind people into the financial counseling field. And long-term, my vision is to have a lot of blind people working in financial counseling and in other financially related careers, really because I think those careers can be quite accessible, can be quite rewarding in lots of ways, and can improve the standard of living for the blind community in general. So because of that, we are also required to accumulate 1,000 service hours each or experience hours each as a part of our certification process. So as we're studying, we are excited to be able to offer free one-on-one financial counseling by the three of us. And each one of us is going to have different times where we're going to feel most comfortable with beginning to offer that. But we will be able to offer that as a way to help the blind community and also as a way to help us to become certified. So I am one of the AFC candidates, and I'm really excited, but you've heard a lot from me already. I'd like to introduce the other two AFC candidates now. They are Liz Botner and Mo Carpenter, and they're probably racing for their mute buttons right now. So I'm going to go to Liz first. Liz lives in Washington, D.C. She's a certified vision rehabilitation therapist and a certified assistive technology instructional specialist. She currently works in web accessibility. And Liz, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I also serve as the Penny Forward Vice President. I wear several hats, I guess. I help co-host the podcast, so some of you may or may not have heard my voice on the podcast. Yes, I am, along with Chris and Mo, studying to be an accredited financial counselor. I am extremely passionate about making sure that the world in general is accessible to anyone and everyone. Most importantly, in terms of experience and opinion, the blind and low vision community. And by becoming an accredited financial counselor, that is one way that I can help make the world more accessible to those of us in this community, because everyone should be financially self-sufficient, and helping people figure that out is definitely a good thing, because we all need that. And so, as Chris said, I am a certified vision rehab therapist and a certified assistive technology instructional specialist. So I do have a background in blind rehabilitation. I'm also adding digital accessibility to my career. So I'm just interested in anything and everything and really willing to learn. And that is definitely what this AFC journey has allowed me to do. And I'm quite fortunate just for the support of my fellow board members and friends, and also for that of AFC PE, who has been extremely welcoming and open and just upfront with whatever we need them to help with, they will help with, and they are on board and they want us to succeed and help other people. So I'm grateful and just excited for this journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. We're grateful for your work that you're doing for Penny Forward and your participation in this process. Mo Carpenter is also an AFC candidate. She has been a stay-at-home mom of 4 kids, and her kids are getting a little bit older now, and she's finding herself with a little bit of time to start thinking about a career as a financial counselor. And Mo, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Well, you said a lot of it there, Chris. Hi, I'm Mo Carpenter. I'm also Penny Forward's administrative assistant. So often you will see that your messages get answered by me, although often those are also sent to Chris. And I'm just excited to do this. I've been interested in financial matters since I was a tiny little girl, and it's just an exciting place for me to actually be able to use the skills that I've learned through the years and help others get comfortable with where they are with their finances.
All right. Well, thank you, Mo. If you choose to work with us on a one-on-one basis, you can talk with any or all of us if you want, and figure out who is going to be the best fit for your particular circumstances. We all have different approaches and some, clearly different personality types and also different areas of interest within the financial sphere. So, I hope that you'll get to know us in that way if we can help you at all.
And it may take trial and error, but that's also okay. So if you
Absolutely.
start working with one of us and you decide, you know what, I don't know that this works, that is fine. And
Mhm.
we would rather, I think I can speak for all of us when I say, we would rather you tell us that than think that you have to keep sticking with us. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's okay. And we'd rather it work in general with someone, even if that person isn't who you originally were paired with. So speak up, because if you don't, you were the one who was at a disservice, and that is not okay. That is not why we are doing this. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, this evening we are going to be talking about ABLE accounts. ABLE accounts are tax advantage savings accounts that are available to people who are blind or people with disabilities. Used to be, and actually still is until 2026, now that I think of it, that you had to become blind or disabled before age 26 to open an ABLE account. And that closed out ABLE accounts to a lot of people who may have lost their vision later in life. As part of the omnibus spending bill that was passed at the very end of December 2022, that age has now been increased to 46. However, that doesn't take effect until 2026. So you have a lot of time to think about it and do your research. But we wanted to get started on that process now because an ABLE account can be a very powerful tool in your toolbox for saving as a person with a disability, whether you're receiving Social Security benefits or Medicaid or other types of government benefits or not. There are some advantages that aren't going to be the right fit for everybody, but they're definitely something that you want to think about and be aware of, and think about whether you want to use this tool that's available in your toolbox now. So let's first talk about how ABLE accounts benefit people that are receiving SSI and Medicaid and other means tested benefits. Used to be, until ABLE accounts were introduced back in 2015, that you could only have about $2,000 in the bank as a person receiving SSI or Medicaid, medical assistance, that kind of thing. If you put your money in an ABLE account, you can have up to $100,000 before losing your benefits. So this can be a very, very big deal. You can put your own money. If you have extra money that you haven't spent at the end of the month, you can put that into an ABLE account and save it up in order to build up a nest egg for something later on. You can also, through most ABLE programs, accept gifts from family and friends of money. This is a bit like having your own personal GoFundMe that's running all the time. They make it very easy for your family and friends to put money directly into your ABLE account to help you out. But the advantage to the ABLE account is that they're not taking the kinds of fees that GoFundMe is taking. I will get to your question in one moment, Ty, and thank you for asking it in the chat. So GoFundMe charges pretty exorbitant fees for people who raise money for things that they need through that platform. An ABLE account doesn't charge those kinds of exorbitant fees, meaning that it can be quicker for you to raise money for your family and friends if something goes wrong. For working people who are not receiving benefits, ABLE accounts also have some advantages. If you are working in a job that doesn't offer a retirement savings plan, you can contribute extra money to your ABLE account, and you may qualify for a saver's tax credit for doing that. This can be used as a retirement vehicle. All of the money that you put in your ABLE account is put in after taxes meaning that you pay taxes on it now. And later on, when you want to withdraw that money, it's called taking a distribution. You will not pay taxes on it. That's called tax-free growth. And you see tax-free growth in a number of types of accounts. There is something called a Roth IRA that many people are familiar with. There is a 529 educational savings plan that is in some ways similar to an ABLE account and offers tax-free growth for education-related expenses. And then there are ABLE accounts. And ABLE accounts behave a lot like Roth IRAs, except for two differences. Difference number one, you can contribute a great deal more per year to an ABLE account than you can to a Roth IRA. And incidentally, they're not mutually exclusive. You can have a Roth IRA and an ABLE account at the same time if you're able to save that much every year. The other advantage is that you can't withdraw the interest you've earned from a Roth IRA until you are 59 and a half. You can withdraw the principal, or the principal is the money that you contributed. You can withdraw the principal if it's been in the Roth IRA for 5 years or more, but you can't withdraw the interest until you're 59 and a half. So this can be confusing to people, and if done incorrectly can force you to pay a tax penalty. An ABLE account allows you to withdraw from your account at any time, but there's a kind of a catch. It's not a big catch, it's a very broad catch. Because you need to spend the money that you've withdrawn on qualified disability expenses. And qualified disability expenses fall into a broad set of categories, including housing, education, transportation, employment expenses, health and medical expenses, financial services, legal fees, things like this. And essentially, the IRS and the Department of the Treasury have ruled that as long as you are spending the money from your ABLE account to benefit yourself and your quality of life, that it is likely to have fallen into one of these categories. So it is very difficult. It is very difficult to spend your money incorrectly from your ABLE account unless you are using it to buy a gift for somebody else. And even then, that may be okay. For example, if you use money out of your ABLE account to purchase a car for your spouse, and having that car is going to benefit you because your spouse is going to be able to drive you around in it and help get you places, well, then it's okay. And this has been clarified by the ABLE National Resource Center with the IRS. So I'm making sure that I don't speak out of turn here. But if you were to buy a car for your brother who lives in England and who you never see, and all he's going to do is drive it around in England, well, then it's probably not a qualified disability expense. So that is an example. And there was a question we received from someone by email before this call that asked just that. Is there a list of qualified disability expenses anywhere so that I can just look on the list and see if what I'm about to do is okay? The answer to that question is no. There is a list of categories, but there is no list of okay or pre-approved expenses. At least what the IRS and the Treasury Department have said right now is that the test is very simple. The money needs to benefit you and contribute to your quality of life if you are the ABLE account owner, and it can benefit somebody else at the same time, but you cannot spend the money out of your ABLE account to only benefit somebody else. So that was one of the questions that we received by email. I'm going to pause now because I want to make sure that we give people a chance to ask questions from Zoom and from Clubhouse. And Ty asked one in the chat earlier. I appreciate you doing that, and you're welcome to submit questions that way, or you can raise your hand in Zoom or Clubhouse, and we'd be happy to bring you on and have a brief conversation with you. So with that, Mo, are there any raised hands in Zoom?
Give me just a second. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Liz, how about Clubhouse? Oh, I
Yes.
see.
We do have one raised hand.
We'll go
Jenna.
Clubhouse first since we got Ty in here.
Okay. So we do have Jenna. I have invited her up.
All right. Well, Jenna is accepting the invitation to come up on the stage in Clubhouse. I'll just invite you to raise your hands
And Ty does have their hand up again in Zoom.
oh, okay. All right. So we'll grab you right after Jenna, Ty, and thank you. Jenna, did you?
Clubhouse maybe being weird. Hold on.
Okay.
Chris, while we're waiting, I had a question that would help others. It's not for me. I'm wondering about the fees on the accounts. Can you talk a little bit about fees for management of the ABLE accounts?
Yes, I can. And that's a wonderful question. So the fees, the management fees on ABLE accounts fall into two categories. And an ABLE account can either be used as kind of a traditional sort of checking or savings account with a debit card and even paper checks if you want them, or it can be used as an investment account. And you can even use it as a combination of the two. So there are some fees that many ABLE programs have simply for having the account open. They tend to be around $15 a quarter. Sometimes those fees are waived or reduced significantly if you do something like agree to get your statements electronically instead of on paper. And sometimes if you maintain a high enough balance in your account, a common one that I've seen is about $200 or $250 or so, then those fees are waived or significantly reduced. There's also fees related to investments. And if you invest in your ABLE account, the fees are typically between 3 and 5% of your investments under management. To give you a perspective of that, if you have $100 invested in your ABLE account, every year the ABLE program administrator may collect a fee of $5 or maybe as little as $3 in order to keep that money invested. And that is somewhat higher than the fees associated with some other investment accounts. So it is, for somebody that's working and making more money, there is kind of an order of operations, at least that, I can tell you some of the ways that I think about the fees and the different accounts that you can have as a working person to collect the lowest fees possible. But that's, in a nutshell, what you're looking at is between $25 and $50 per year. And sometimes that can be waived if you can keep enough money in the account and use electronic statements. And then if you are investing, it might be between 3 and 5% of the money that you have invested. There is one exception that I'm aware of to this. The Massachusetts Attainable program does not collect any fees for having the ABLE account open. They only collect fees based on the money that you have invested. So their assets under management fees are slightly higher. They are about 5%. But but in exchange for that, they don't collect any quarterly or annual fees. I hope that helps, Ty. And let's flip over to Clubhouse to see if anyone's up on the stage at this point.
Not at the moment. And the person, Jenna she sent me a message and said that she could not accept at the moment. So I said
Okay.
just whenever she can is fine. But,
Sure.
but we do not have
Can
anyone
I add
else
one
with
more
any reason.
thing, Chris,
Sure.
to the fees is that you can sometimes get reduced fees if you are in your own state's program.
Good point. Really good point. And Liz and Mo, feel free to throw in anything I missed or even take the answers to any of these questions. Mo, as an example, has been researching opening an Able account and trying to figure out which program would be best for her. And Liz just opened an Able account just a few weeks ago, so she can talk in a lot of detail about what the sign up process was like and how long it took. In fact, Mo, do you want to talk about a little bit about the research process you've been doing and what you've been learning about how things work in your state?
Sure. So there was a document on our particular plan's website, and it's over 100 pages long. So I've only made it about a quarter of the way through that paperwork, but it describes of different things like the fees and how often you can move money from investment to investment, or the different things that are associated with that. I started making little notes to myself, Word files, so that I could keep track of some of those things, because I'm not going to remember them. But for example, in the state of Iowa, your fees are cut in half for the state or the basic yearly fees, as long as you are a tax-paying citizen of the state of Iowa. So that's why I'm looking there, because I would get half of that money back, or I wouldn't be paying half of as much as I would be paying in other states, just because I am a tax-paying citizen here.
Well, thanks, Mo. Some states also allow you to deduct your state income taxes from.
There was something else about taxes, but I hadn't gotten to that part of the paperwork yet.
Yeah. So that is something to look at. If you live in a state where that's possible, that could be another advantage for people who are working, of putting money into an Able account.
We do have a hand in Clubhouse.
All right.
Chip has asked to come up. So Chip, you have a question.
Hi, Chip.
Potential.
And Liz, why don't we
Sorry, that was me. That was my fault.
yeah.
Clubhouse.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hello, Chip.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Chip.
Hi. Chris, you said there were two reasons that you mentioned for having an Able account where it was an advantage. One was for means tested government benefits, and the other was to save more while you were working than a Roth IRA would allow you to save. If you're not working and you're not receiving means tested government benefits, is there a reason to have an Able account?
Certainly. You can still get the tax-free growth that anybody can get, whether they're working or not. And you can also use it to accept gifts from your family and friends. That's one of the really neat things that a lot of Able programs provide, is they basically give you a page that you can send a link to your family and friends and say, if you want to, gift me money here, you can put it in my Able account. And then that money is also going to grow tax-free. So I think regardless of whether you're working or receiving means tested benefits or not, the tax-free growth can be a big deal.
Okay. And does fees or do fees of 3 to 5% of investment for the tax free growth, do they seem standard or do they seem high to you? Can you speak to that?
They are higher than some other types of accounts.
That was my impression.
Yes, they are higher than some other types of accounts. Let's talk about a Roth IRA, for example. You can contribute to a Roth IRA with money you earn when you're working. You cannot contribute money to a Roth IRA if it is not income you earned. In other words, you can't accept a gift from somebody and put it in a Roth IRA if you're unemployed. It's not, that violates the rules of the Roth. So the fees in a Roth IRA for Roth IRAs with smaller account balances tend to be somewhere between 2 and 1%. And a lot of companies will reduce those fees after you reach a certain balance level. Sometimes it's around $100,000 or $150,000. And then there are some companies that won't even let you open an account with them unless you have $100,000 or $150,000 to start with. Although I will say that that's fairly rare at this point. So able account fees are higher. And I'll tell you what I'm doing in my personal situation, because I have access to a 401k. I also have I have some money in a traditional IRA and some money in a Roth IRA. So the way that I'm choosing to handle this right now in my particular financial situation is I'm contributing to my 401k up to the point where I get my employer's match. The fees on the 401k are somewhat higher than they would be on an IRA. So then I'm contributing the maximum amount, which is currently $6,000 into a Roth IRA. And then if I have money left over and I still can put more away in savings, I go back to putting it into my 401k because I either have the option of saving before tax or after tax dollars in the 401k and until I max that out. So I put a fairly small amount into my Able account. And I have a pretty specific situation where I intend to use my Able account. I'm planning to be not working full time in the next couple of years. And I plan to use the tax-free growth from my Able account as a way to sort of bridge the gap while I'm not working and while I'm trying to grow Penny Forward to the point where I'm able to employ employees, including myself, in Penny Forward. As far as taxes go, it really depends on what your tax bracket is, because if you're, say, in the 22% tax bracket, being able to put a little bit of extra money away in savings and have it grow at 12% or more, and even if you're taking 3 or a 5% fee off, may still be attractive. But I will be perfectly honest and tell you that there are some people who have just said, an Able account's a non-starter for me because the fees are too high. And for many people that may be the right decision. Where I would really suggest that people look at Able accounts is if you have no other place that you can save and invest because you're collecting benefits, or B, if you've exhausted all of your other options and you're thinking about like maybe a retail brokerage account or something, well, then maybe an Able account might be something you want to think about at that point as someone who works. I see that Julie has raised her hand. Julie, go ahead.
I was just waiting for you to stop talking.
Yeah. Are you there, Julie?
Okay, there we go. Now I have the unmute option available. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of clarify one thing. For somebody, and I read this in Forbes, I think, but somewhere, where if you're married and file a joint tax return with a spouse, then you can still contribute to, if your spouse works, even if you don't, then as that spouse, as long as you're married and file a joint return, then you can still contribute to a Roth IRA.
If you're not employed?
Yes, as long as your spouse is working and you file a joint tax return.
You very well could be right
She is
about
correct.
that. Okay. All right.
So I just in case, that situation applied to people, I'd seen where that is something that you're now allowed to do. And basically the argument they made was that, because of people that had to leave work during the pandemic to
Uh-huh.
care for kids that were stuck home, that they kind of changed the rules on that you can still contribute to a Roth IRA, even if you're a non-working spouse, as long as you meet the income guidelines for a married couple and as long as you file a joint tax return. So I just wanted to clarify that.
And as,
if that
and
was
as
I
long
see.
as you are contributing less than your earned income. So it
Yeah.
does have to be earned income.
So what does that mean? As long as you're contributing less than your earned income, if you're not
Well, because there's
employed?
the maximums that you can contribute. Like if you only make $16,000 a year, you can't contribute $20,000.
you can't do 20,000, right? Even if you have it, it has to be earned income. So
Within
like you
that
can't
year.
use dividend income. Yeah.
But
I
as
see.
long as it's joint, because you're filing together, it's any of your incomes as a unit.
I see. Well,
They're
thank you for
considered one.
clarifying that, because that is a I gather that maybe that's a pandemic rule change that I missed.
I don't know if it is, because I think it was in the tax book, and I think the tax book that we have is older than pandemic stuff, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It's
I read it somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it's a fairly new that book is a fairly recently published book. But
I will say it's definitely interesting when you read books and it's like due to the pandemic. It's like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
that kind of, I was like, I'm like, wow. I know that's a random potential tangent, but I just wanted to mention, I was like, wow. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any other questions? Maybe anyone in Clubhouse that has their hand raised?
We have no hands currently in Clubhouse at the moment.
Okay. Liz, do you want to talk about what your experience was like when you signed up for yours?
Sure. I signed up for my Able account a few weeks ago in the very beginning of this month. And it took me about 45 minutes or so from start to finish. And really what held me back was thinking that, I'm not currently on benefits and I don't want to be kind of boxed into, I can only spend this money on disability related things, because there may be things that I want to spend it on that aren't disability related, but there are ways that I didn't even think about to factor that in terms of if I wanted to buy something that wasn't necessarily a disability related expense, I could take the money out of the account and use it for, let's say, rent, which is a qualified expense because I have to live, and that definitely benefits me having a place to live. And then I could use the money that I was gonna otherwise put to whatever else it was I wanted to buy that was not a qualified expense. Or what I could put the money that I was gonna use towards rent, towards the other thing I was going to buy. And so once that was explained to me, I was kind of like, why did I not do this before? Why have I waited? And so I signed up. I pretty much had an idea of which program I wanted to use just based on talking to people who already had able accounts and kind of what their experiences were like. And so choosing my account wasn't actually that difficult for me. And I signed up. The process was very, very simple, very, very straightforward. It's going to be different based on which program you go with in terms of the actual step-by-step, but I think that they're very similar in terms of what they ask you and things like that. I opened an account, and as I said, 45 minutes or so, didn't put anything in it, but that changed a few days later when I decided, you know what, why am I just having this open here? Let me actually do something with this. And so now I do have a regular transfer going in there each month. And it's grown. It's not grown that much, but it's definitely grown a little bit since I put money in, because I did one of the investment options. And so I have been able to watch it grow, which is exciting.
That's pretty neat. We got another question by email before this call that I wanted to address, because this is another thing that a lot of people are worried about when it comes to opening up an Able account. And the question was basically, if I pass away and there's money left in my Able account, can the state come and take that money? And the answer is, it depends. So first of all, the law says that that you or your family, whoever survives you when you pass away, is able to use the money in your Able account to pay for any remaining qualified disability related expenses that you still have after you pass away, including burial and funeral expenses. So if you have any legal fees that you're still working on paying, if you still have, like a lease on an apartment or something, and you've got to make a final payment, if there's other remaining payments that someone needs to make to clean up your estate after you pass away, they can use your Able account for that. And then they can also use it for paying for your funeral. But Able accounts are meant to be used now. They're not a tool that is meant to be used to build an inheritance. But that isn't to say that you can't build an inheritance, especially if you are well off enough to be thinking about things like building an inheritance for people that survive you. There are things that you can potentially do. I mentioned that I have access to a 401k and IRAs and my Able account and a retail brokerage account. And I talked a little bit about the order in which I think about contributing to those things. I also think about the order that I will choose to spend the money when the time comes for me to spend money from my savings. And the first place that I'm going to take money out of is going to be my Able account. First of all, because it's something that I can take money out of at basically any time. So if I'm out of work 2 years from now, I'm going to be able to do that, and I'm going to be able to pay for my own qualified disability expenses. And as we talked about before, that's most things that benefit me and contribute to my quality of life, including things like paying my mortgage and utility bills and so forth. So I'm gonna use my Able account until it's gone, as much as possible. My second choice is going to be to go to my Roth IRA. Again, we talked about this, that there are ways to get at the principal of a Roth IRA if it's been in the account for more than 5 years, even if you are younger than 59 and a half. But one hope that I have is that I can leave my money in my IRAs. I have both a traditional and a Roth, and I have money in both because it was contributed at different times of my life, and I was in different tax brackets and also had different levels of knowledge. I should point that out. So I'll be going to my IRAs next. And my 401k will most likely be rolled into either one or my other, or the other, or both of my IRAs when I leave my job, because IRA fees tend to be lower than the management fees on an employer retirement account. They're not always, but it's something to be aware of. So I am hoping by having money in my ABLE account that I spend first, I will allow my retirement accounts to grow for longer, and any nest egg that I will have to give to the people that survive me, my wife and my kids and potentially grandkids later on down the road, will come out of my retirement accounts. There is a case where the state can claim money out of your ABLE account, and not all states do this. There are a number of states that have specifically said that they will not be doing this, at least at this time. But the law allows states to choose to take any remaining money from your ABLE account to pay back any benefits you received, such as Medicaid and any kind of means tested benefits that the state contributes to. So some states do that, some states don't. And one of the ways that you can, I guess, avoid that, if that's a concern, is to make sure that you are using the money now to improve your quality of life. That's really what it's there for, is to improve your quality of life. And a funeral is the average funeral costs around $10,000. So, if you still have $10,000 left in your ABLE account, when you pass away, your relatives are going to thank you for not
But going
having
back to Chip's question, and we do have a hand in Clubhouse. I don't know
Okay.
if we have hands in Zoom. If we do, I'd like to defer to that after I bring up this point that I want to make. But going back to Chip's question, what are the benefits to having an ABLE account if you're not working and are not on means tested benefits? Could that not potentially be one? I mean, that obviously should not, I don't think, be the main focus. But if that gives you peace of mind that, I'll put this money in here, and later on down the line, whatever is left over will go to helping my friends, family, loved ones, have a little bit of an easier time with organizing things. I mean, that, to me, that answer would be yes, that is a potential benefit.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
I didn't even know that was a possibility. So I learned something new.
That is a possibility. And certainly you can use money out of other accounts to pay for your funeral expenses too. So, again, if the fees are an issue for you and you have other lower fee options, you may want to contribute to those first. And the ABLE account either may not be right for you, or it may be something you want to use as kind of like a later or a lower priority option. I don't think there are any hands in Zoom. Are there, Mo? I didn't notice any.
Not last I looked.
Okay, then we have Kim on stage in Clubhouse. Hello, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hello. So my question is, if you're receiving state benefits, am I to understand then that having the ABLE account will not go against the cap of what you're allowed to have. You know, I know you talked about the federal benefits, but if you are also receiving, because some states do have a, you know, a particular benefit for their blind and visually impaired residents. So would having the ABLE account, say, you know, if you had enough benefits elsewhere, but you're also, just because you're blind, that allows you in that state to receive benefits, and you wanted to maybe put that away, would an ABLE account, would that be feasible in this particular, in this situation, or do you know? And this is, and I also have a second question.
Sure.
My second question is also like, if one, you know, how do you go about setting up an ABLE account? I know Liz, you talked about setting up one, but do you have to work through a particular entity, or is this something, do you just go to a particular website? How do you navigate what would be the best type of ABLE account for you?
I can answer your your second question first. The website to find information about ABLE accounts is ablenrc.org. Also on pennyforward.com. I believe there's a link to that on our resources page, if I'm not mistaken. And I actually pinned the link at the top of this room, so to our website as well. But that ablenrc.org has information on how to sign up and on the different programs, and which program is right for you is going to depend on your particular situation and what you're willing to kind of, you know, be okay with in terms of the fees that they may or may not have in terms of each program may or may not have. But you don't need to necessarily be in the state that you sign up with. I am not, for instance, I'm not using Washington DC's program. Also, yes, you sign up. When you sign up for an ABLE account, and then you sign up also through the institution, the financial institution wherein the account is housed. And so you sign up with a username and a password for that institution, and then you log into their portal and it shows your account, your ABLE account, and everything related to that in that portal. So I hope that answers the second part of your question.
As far as the first part of your question, I know that where you live in Missouri, there is a blind pension. I don't know specifically of any nuances to ABLE accounts in Missouri. What the ABLE NRC says sort of in general is that ABLE accounts allow you to save without losing your means tested benefits, and they don't specifically say whether that's just your federal benefits or your state benefits. So, you know, this is one thing where you probably want to be at least aware of what's going on in your particular state. And I don't know off the top of my head the details of all 50 states. So my assumption is that you wouldn't lose, say, the Missouri state blind pension because you have money in an ABLE account. But I would be glad to research that and get back to you with a more detailed answer of whether that's true or not.
Yeah, I'm always, you know, going into these. I mean, what we feel like should be the case.
Yes.
Things have a way of coming back on us, and
Yep.
maybe a law changed 2 years ago that we don't know about. And it's kind of difficult. And sometimes I get a little hesitant about, number one, it's very difficult to talk with people in the blind pension office. It can be difficult. They're a bit short-staffed, and also I think it should be fine to be able to query, but sometimes I wonder, does that raise red flags for them? You know, like if I start asking too many questions, I mean, I'm probably just overly
Sure.
cautious about that. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because I don't obviously want to mess myself up out of my pension. I was also gonna ask you if and that was a good point about the able account. I think I thought of this question when Liz was, or when you were talking about if you pass away and what that account what will happen, or some states will come in and take that money. Also though, if let's say if I set up the able account while I'm in Missouri, but later on down the road I wind up moving to another state, then that's not going to affect, or do I need to change any particular thing about the able account, or is that going to change anything with regards to any benefits, fees, etc.?
It will transfer. Most of them, I think, can transfer. And it will, when you look at the different programs on the ablenrc.org website, it will say, there is a category, in terms of can this account transfer. And so, and usually in my research, when I would see that, it would not have a fee. I don't know if that's for everyone, but every account, but most of them are able to be transferred to other states, which is great, because you may move somewhere and may want to take it with you.
The other
Okay, so it's not really like having like like when you have a checking account, say for instance, and you have money in there, or your savings account for that matter, it doesn't really matter where you move, that account is that account stays regardless of where you move. So I take it then, and maybe it's just because I'm not fully understanding the able account, but when you move, then you have to identify that you've moved to a different location.
You don't have to. You can if you decide that you want to move it, but you don't need to move it.
Okay.
in most cases, there are
Yeah,
some
most cases.
there are some state programs that are not open to participants from out of state. And so it's possible that if you are in a program that doesn't allow out of state participants, that they may say that if you move out of state, they want you to transfer out of that state program. But many ABLE programs allow out of state participants. So, for example, I live in Minnesota, but I am using the Massachusetts program. And I can continue to use the Massachusetts program no matter where I move.
And case in point, I am in Washington, D.C., and I am also using the Massachusetts program. And it
Okay.
works.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me up.
You're
and
welcome. Thank you for
appreciate
your
the info.
questions.
Yeah. So we're running out of time. This was not meant to be an argument to persuade you to open an ABLE account. For some people, an ABLE account will be a very powerful tool. For other people, it is not going to be right for your situation, and that's okay. This was meant to be informative and to pass on what we know to the best of our understanding of how ABLE accounts work. ABLE accounts are a fairly new thing that have only been around since 2015. And so there's still a lot to be learned. It's not something that gets talked about a great deal. So particularly because the age limit is increasing as of 2026 because of the law that was passed in December, we felt that it was a good idea to talk about ABLE accounts this month. So there's more information in the Penny Forward podcast. If you want to join Penny Forward, you can do that by going to pennyforward.com and clicking on the Join Penny Forward link. There we have weekly members only group chats on Zoom, and we record all of those. So you can go back and access any one of those recordings. And we've talked about ABLE accounts on a couple of our members only group chats, and we'll probably talk about them again. So if you missed something here, perhaps it was covered there. And you're always welcome to give us a call at 888-332-5558. or send an email to pennyforward@pennyforward.com, and we'll be happy to do some research and try to get an answer back to you if you have questions that we weren't able to address here. Thank you,
Absolutely.
everybody, for being here. Liz and Mo, thank you for helping out with the call.
Just one last disclaimer is that we do not provide legal advice. We are just here to try and give you the best of our information that we have available.
Nor do we
to us.
provide investment or tax advice. We
Correct.
just, we help you with what we can help you with and give you resources for those things that we can't. So,
Right. Very, very important. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. You can find a recording of this on the Penny Forward YouTube channel, and it will be posted to pennyforward.com in the fairly near future. If you ever want to cover this again, and again, if you need some help that we couldn't answer here, please do send us an email to pennyforward@pennyforward.com or give us a phone call, and you can find all of our contact information on pennyforward.com if you missed it here. So with that, thank you all for watching and listening, and have a good evening.